Another night, another dream, but always new. It's like a vision of love that seems to be true. Another night, another dream, but always new. In the night, I dream of love so true. Another night, another dream, but always new. It's like a vision of love that seems to be true. Another night, another dream, but always new. In the night, I dream of love so true. In the night, in my dreams, I'm in love with you. How you talk to me like the first. I feel joy, I feel pain, I feel the same. When the night is long, I will be alone.
DJ Sequence.
In the night, in my dreams, I'm in love with you. 'Cause you talk to me like the first two. I feel joy, I feel pain, 'cause it's still the same. When the night is gone, I will be alone. Another night, another dream, but always new. It's like a vision of love that seems to be true. Another night, another dream, but always new. In the night, I dream of love so true. Another night, another dream, but always new. It's like a vision of love that seems to be true. Another night, another dream, but always new. In the night, I dream of love so true. In the night, in my dreams, I'm in love with you. 'Cause you talk to me like the first. I feel joy, I feel pain, 'cause it's still the same. When the night is long, I will be alone.
Look around and see the beauty of the sky. Here for you and me, a wonderful life. Look around and see the beauty of the sky. Here for you and me, a wonderful life. No need to run and
Right, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. How's everybody doing? What a wonderful week it's been. Hope you all had a great one. It's been some movement. It's satisfying. It's nice. Actual volatility in this market that we participate in every single day.
dreams hang in the air. Holding the sky, and in my blue eyes, you know it feels unfair. There's magic everywhere. No need to hide and
Hello. Is that better? My voice. Yeah, I've got this problem. No? Right, what about that? Surely this is the one. Fixed. Happy days. Right, thank you. Well, we've got some peeps today. Happy days. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with my stupid microphone. I bought a new one and it's still giving me the same shit. So we will stop moaning about that and we will get into stuff. Right, how has your week been? Let's go back to the beginning. The week has been nice and volatile, in my opinion. All good, excellent. I think green candle went inside Charlie's mouth. Well, thank you all for your feedback. It's nice to know you're all in the chat and just going fucking, rah, he's a robot. Which is fair. Which is absolutely fair. Charlie's a beautiful laugh, yeah, apart from when Mario puts it as like a fucking dolphin. One of those things. Should I TP or let run? What are you on about, mate? Welcome back to Earth. Yeah. We'll go over some stuff, right? You can always throw some tickers out and do all that. So let's just take a quick sample of the chat. Are we all bearish, bullish? What's going on? How are we all feeling? What's your sentiment? Bull in limbo, sus. TP is gonna run, nuke. Bro ran, yeah, bro ran. No, bro was just sorting stuff out. Yeah. If my TP is gonna run, if it doesn't, it'll nuke. Yeah, they are the laws of trading, I'm afraid. This is the arena that you participate in, right? Like, if you sell, it's going up infinitely. If you buy, it's literally the top. Sorry, I don't make the rules. I do not make the rules. But yeah, I mean, hopefully you guys got some cool stuff from last week's stream. We had like tons of good setups last week. It was absolute banger. We'll first jump into... I am completely unprepared. I've been avoiding the trenches this week, to be brutally honest with you. And it's largely because I haven't really worked out where pump fund would end up. So obviously shout out to Telemetry, aka formerly known as Bonkbot, for sponsoring the stream. The more astute of you will notice that they have changed their layout since maybe not last stream, but certainly the stream before. And you know, there's a clear meta kind of emerging, which we talked about last stream. I didn't capitalize on it, I'm going to be brutally honest. It's because I was quite focused on perps. We had a lot of good perp setups last week, and we might have a couple more coming today. We'll kind of see how things play out, right? But we talked about essentially Bonk Fun launching and the fact that it has literally gone from pretty decent volume, not terrible, to pretty monumental, 300 million a day, etc, peaking at 406, and today looks like it's going to be on for a banger as well. So we are starting to see a bit of recovery in the trenches, despite the fact that Pump Fund launched and was a mass extraction event and all that kind of stuff. I hope some of you made money out of it. I made a little Twix out of it by shorting, but nothing to really send the boys home with. But yeah, I will drop my ref link and get you legends to sign up if you are on chain trading, because this is the best place to do it. And there are points, and points mean prizes, so I'm not told. Yes, let's jump back. Let's jump back to what's going on with Daddy BTC, because we did catch a lot of decent trades last week. Bitcoin wasn't one of them, to be fair. We didn't really talk about Bitcoin much last week in terms of playing the next leg. But I mean, for me, there's a lot kind of going on, right? There's a lot of people going well, this is clearly the top, and it's over, yada yada yada. I mean, it was a strong breakout, right? And a nice consolidation to play another leg. But for me, this is the classic giraffe pattern, right? You have one leg, consolidate, next leg, and then it's kind of over. But from a higher time frame, healthy market structure view, right? You end up with, this is just essentially a kind of higher low on the daily, right? and we're starting to retest some trends, and we're not really, there's a lot of stuff going on in terms of what's it called, like all the whales moving their big wallets and all this kind of bollocks, but I don't pay attention to that particularly. I just know that CT likes that kind of drama, right? Someone's holding on with 80,000 Bitcoin and doing, whatever with them. Yeah, who cares? Like, is it an uptrend? Yeah, for now. What's the worst case scenario? Well, obviously, if it comes back to here and it gives, a perfect retest, that's not particularly great, right? Like, that's not great because that would really make this look like a local top, right? And that doesn't mean that it's just going to go straight to zero or anything like that. It means we could just range, and we could keep ranging until kind of like Q4 kicks in, something like that. I really want to see it hold here, to be blunt. And that's not a, oh my god, if it goes down a bit, it's going to keep going down. No, nothing like that. Like, I'm looking for same thing I've kind of been looking at all day, really, which is just this consolidation here. This like range, like over here, was kind of a nice indicator for me to think, well, okay, this is where value is being developed. We now have this, multiple attempts to sell off, which we haven't done. We've taken the liquidity from here. We've even swept these lows. This is where I'd really expect us to have that positive reaction, and this is kind of our like low time frame last chance saloon, in my opinion, to if you want to be long and you want to get long and you want to think that this is the start of the next leg up, well, this is this kind of has to be it, because otherwise structurally you're going into a bearish market structure in terms of that's a lower high. Yeah, this has to form a higher low here, otherwise it's just all off the cards. So this is kind of the last chance saloon. And what's making me like hesitant that it is a couple of things. One, it's some absolute dog shit running like Bearer, Pump Fun, etc. But the massive upside is we've got ETH finally breaking out of this consolidation that it's been in for like the last week. And this will be a kind of litmus test for the rest of the alt market in terms of one thing that used to happen in previous cycles is we got the Bitcoin run, right? And then we got the risk on to like ETH and the layer 2s, so like Solana, all that kind of stuff. Well, Solana's not layer 2, but you know what I mean. The other blockchains, layer 1s, and that then did filter into layer 2s like ARB and all that kind of bullshit. Maybe we get the next leg up on ETH. I am underexposed to ETH, I'm not going to lie. I do have some ETH, I have some spot ETH from various wallets, but it's not like a huge deliberate play. Do you know what I mean? It's not like I've been like, right, I have to allocate 10% of my net worth to Ethereum or anything like that. I've kind of missed this play. I do think that there are better options, probably not many better options for the liquidity that's available for obviously Ethereum, but yeah, it's very good if you're in it. And there's a really nice invalidation, it is like literally here. You just kind of don't want to see us come back into this range, essentially. ETH fast 3.4k, yeah, I don't think it looks unreasonable, right? I could be tempted to play a rotation like this if I was a bit more aggressive. I kind of think I've missed the local rotation, which I was chatting to it with I was chatting about it with one of my friends. Literally just before I came on the stream, actually, which was, I think the trade to take was one of my classic favorites, which is kind of down here, which is where we literally deviated under this range low. Alright, let's draw it a little bit better and zoom in a little bit because my eyes are broken. Twice, and we just reclaimed. I think that is kind of the classic, establish a range, deviate the lows, take the low here, reclaim and go, and your long looks something like this, right? And that would have been the trade. And I love this setup. Like this setup, you can just copy paste onto pretty much any chart, right? And go with that. I think that was the trade, and I'm kind of then loath to play a rotation up here. But there are other coins, obviously, that are associated with ETH that you can play rotations of. Friends, he said. Best friends, yeah, buddy, I ain't carrying you for free. True. Right, so because Rock said that, we are now all turbo shorting ETH with our billions of dollars, and we're literally doing this. Bosh, straight to zero. Thanks, Rock, good game. No, I'm joking. I don't want to short in this market in general. Like, I played a little short rotation on Pump Fun for, you know, the lols, but yeah, I don't feel particularly comfy shorting in this environment. I think if we get a blow off top, I will feel comfy shorting. And what that looks like, just so you guys who are kind of newer to me can see it, it's like that. It's you have a parabolic run up, and parabolas are like really, how do I put it, subjective, right? It's this kind of price action. You typically have to like move this a little bit to get it to fit. It's very, very subjective. But the premise of it is that, and you can see it on like RSI and momentum and stuff as well, right? That, you know, RSI will go like that, kind of fitting in with the curve, and you will be at an extreme, and you'll at least be kind of above the 70 because it would have run pretty hard and pretty fast, hopefully. And then you get this huge kind of volume spike, huge horrible candle at the top and big wick, and then we go for it again and we fail, and this is where you short, and this is where you get on board. And a lot of people got fucking triggered when I did that with Whiff, and it was one of the easiest shorts way back when. Yeah, I've talked about like this is where I'd get on with Whiff. It was here, so I shorted Whiff. There's a tweet where I literally shorted it, and I think I said it was down to 0.40 or something like that. I think it would have been safe, yeah, because this never took the high. Obviously, you would have paid for probably an extortionate amount in funding, but it was something like this, and it triggered the whole of fucking CT, and it got me like millions of impressions before fucking Elon did his bullshit of like paying us for it. It was literally something like this, and like you can see it, right? Real strong run up. I think lower time frame, the last leg was like a real parabola. Wherever it was. Maybe not, maybe it wasn't too parabolic. But yeah, strong run. And then fresh lower high. It wasn't this one, it was this one, I think. And then either way, you know, just run it to the lows. But like, huge euphoria, you know, Whiff's going to $100, blah, blah, blah. I don't think we're going to get that again on Whiff particularly, but I think on some altcoins we will. And I just think, you know, maybe I'm wrong, but it's kind of too early to be fading the trend at this point. Send it, Zeus. Not gonna lie, ETH BTC currently a res. Yeah, and this is it. It's like, you know, ETH here, it does look good. Like, it looks really strong for the day. But that can quite easily change. And like this here, I'm just hoping just fucking trend accelerates like up to infinity. You know, like I said at the start of the stream, I'm very tempted just to take this. Because the invalidation is so good on it, right? Like there is almost like if this is going to break out and be the next trending leg, then you know this is where it's going to do it from, like breaking out of this consolidation. I just think it's probably a little bit too aggressive with Bitcoin selling off and Bitcoin not looking particularly great. Like Bitcoin's PA at this point in time is just like less than ideal. Yeah, maybe we just range on Bitcoin, ETH runs, memes run, and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, if Bitcoin holds here, you know, I could be tempted to do a fresh long on BTC if I wasn't already overexposed, which yes was this kind of description. A couple of weeks ago, we kind of went through this ridiculous trade in terms of risk reward, and yeah, it's so far so good. Pretty fucking mental, really, but we'll go for it. Pump going for it. Yeah, Pump, Bearer, Pengu, all running. Yeah, let's go over some of the kind of trades we took from last stream, right? Did any of you like jump in Fartcoin and all that with me? Because like this was a pretty good trade, and I even tweeted about this, and I'm going to talk to some of the profit taking stuff now. Because, you know, I'm conscious that I only stream publicly once a week, and once we kind of do that, it's kind of like, well, everyone's kind of off on their own, yada yada yada. Now, I did hold this for a little bit longer than this, but unironically, I probably got out at pretty much the same point. And the reason for that is, you know, when you start looking at this from just a trend perspective, and you go, okay, so where is the trend? Like, as long as you are, when you're breaking out and you're breaking out on like high volume, high relative strength, it's kind of, the market in general is going wild because we aligned it with the break of the 110k top, right? We knew that if it did break 110k, then the market would get quite euphoric quite quickly. And it did, it went very frothy, like it broke this resistance, everything kind of went up for a bit, blah, blah, blah. We're all good and happy. But when you've got all that aligning, it means that you should be, your expectation of the environment that you're trading in changes. You should be a bit more aggressive. And, whilst I probably got out of this trade at exactly the same point that I had my stop loss, or sorry, take profit, well, about fucking stop loss, come on, Charlie. The reality is that if you can hold this for a bit longer, you can typically eke out a lot more profit, than just like an arbitrary level. And all I'm looking at is essentially when it loses the trend, when it kind of stops being that giant in terms of relative strength, or when it changes market structure, right? And then when you kind of combine all of that, it's broken trend, it's lost structure, yada yada yada, you go, well, actually, there should then be a consolidation. If there's a consolidation, I can replay the same trade. Now, I'm actually looking to get back into Fartcoin, and hopefully some of you guys can see why. But I just wanted to kind of go over like just one of the trades that we took last week, just to kind of give you an idea of how we act, or how I actually take profit on that, right? Because, it's all well and good me saying here's some trade setups, but actually, how do you exit it and do whatever? I think we've talked about this before, but still, what I'm looking at this week then is kind of similar, and it's on Fartcoin, right? Because I think if I'm looking at this right now, one thing that Fartcoin does really, really well, what's this shit? Let's turn that off. One thing that Fartcoin does really well, and I'm just going to go to a fresh chart for this, is, I might even doodle it on one of these. Ah, yes. Here's one I prepared earlier, in classic Blue Peter fashion, right? Most of you are too young to remember that meme, or remember that TV show, rather. If I start looking at this, and I start looking at just like literal simple diagonal lines, like there's no wizardry to this. I'm not going to pretend that this is like an incredible trading strategy that, no one has ever thought of. But what Fartcoin tends to do when it breaks pretty high time frame diagonal downtrends is it just rips up, and it just rips the arseholes of shorters. So, all I'm looking for is essentially this equivalent, this literal trade of when's it going to break that downtrend. My invalidation is basically it's going back into said downtrend. So like it's pretty tight. It's like the candle that breaks out of it. And then that's it. And then, maybe my target isn't here or anything like that, right? And we'll do something ridiculous so that if it works out, let's make it 100%, shall we? So that if it works out, we can cloud claim on CT. But the reality is that, what we actually want to see is, just it running in the rotation. We'll do the same in terms of like keeping some EMAs or something like that to, take profit if we want to just TP on the way up, right? Oh, sorry, I just realised that it's absolutely hammering it down. Perfect. And yeah, like this is it. That's what we're playing for. And then this is a really long run up with a lot of chop in between. And this is getting kind of shorter and shorter. And I do have a theory that Fartcoin in terms of beta is kind of drying up quite massively. But equally, if we get the confirmation on relative strength, etc., that it's strong there and it's breaking this downtrend, then we go for it, right? Simple as that. Let the trades come to us. Easy as peas. Is Bitcoin looking like a blow off on the 4 hour? So we'll go back to that question and we'll have a look. Let's delete all this shit. So I mean, not particularly. What's interesting with the blow off top is, or how I would define it anyway, is, you know, you would expect like a huge volume spike. You would expect this to be absolutely gargantuan, right? And does it look good? No. Does it look worrying from like a high time frame uptrend perspective? I don't think so. I don't think it looks particularly horrific. I think if you start going to the daily, you would argue that, you know, that's a pretty horrible like SFP. But no, I don't really trade like that. I'm just going to respect the trend, and I'm going to prefer something like this in terms of, yeah, it might mark down a bit, but it's broken out. It was a really inefficient move up. You know, it just basically collapsed a lot of shorts. And now we're coming back to really retest demand. And as long as we take that demand here, i.e. this is where we bounce from, we don't come back down to the previous range. Because like I said, I think if it comes down to the previous range, it's basically going to come into it. It's not going to be a quick bounce or anything like that. It's actually going to re-accept back into the range and then probably just do something like this for a little period, right? And like that was the summer fake out and the summer fun. Now, you know, I don't think that that's what's going to happen. If you ask me, like Gun Ted, what do I think is going to happen? I think 60% chance we get something like this. I think it's probably about a 30% chance that this happens and we go back into the range. I think it's about a 10% chance that we just go down and we just, you know, drift down to fucking Narnia or something. But, you know, the market is the market. It'll do whatever it wants. One of those three scenarios will likely play out. Or maybe we just range up here really randomly, but I equally kind of don't see that happening, you know, just us ranging around the 120k mark, but could do, like anything can happen, right? So yeah, I think that's kind of my general thought process on BTC. But I think there's a lot of opportunity on memes, a lot of opportunity on memes, and you know, a couple of people in the chat have pointed it out, like Bonk, really strong. Did we cover this on here or in the group? Oh yeah, that was it. That was my 1 minute rotational trading session that we did on Thursday. That was actually really good. We literally just did a piece around, you know, how to trade the 1 minute chart essentially, and we caught a bit of a rotation, but that was it. It was good. It was nice to do a bit of that. But yeah, we've got some absolute rippers in terms of Pengu, which I think we covered last week, didn't we? Was that? Oh no, that was a Paragon one again. And again, look at this in terms of like taking profit early. Jesus Christ, it's yeah, pretty wild, pretty wild. It's just run. I mean, this is the other thing, right? Like, why would we want to be longing like certain coins that are weak when we can long stuff like Pengu, yeah? Like, I think Pengu, yeah, the higher any of this stuff goes, the more difficult it's going to be to get on board and to actually play a decent rotation. But, you know, if this establishes a little range, all we'll do is we'll either play a reclaim of the range lows, bish bash bosh, bang, like some juicy fucking stops under here, or a breakout of the range highs. Like, this is the market where you just let decent trades come to you. Just because it's risk on doesn't mean you trade like a fucking idiot, right? I think that's one of the biggest problems that people do in these conditions, and that's why they see all their peers outperforming them, and they completely forget risk management. They completely forget that, you know, there's always another trade, blah blah blah, and they just chase whatever the fuck they see on the day. Like, I've seen a lot of people talk about Say recently. I just assume that's some sort of like OTC deal or something, but Cunts didn't offer it to me, so fuck it, this can go to zero. Yeah, I just think, like, you know, maybe that's pretty decent in terms of what it's going to do, but you know, this was the consolidation to try and get long in, or the breakout play up here, right? And there'll be plenty more stuff like that. Like, a lot of people are going to be like up here going, oh, what's one of the better performers of the day? It's like, you know, here you've got a really nice invalidation. You've got, you know, decent structure going out to a breakout of range high, yada, yada, yada. That in and of itself is quite good. Yeah. But trying to chase it up here, just sort of too wide in terms of invalidation to make it worthwhile. IMO. Wow, okay. That's a bit of a dirty scam pump, isn't it? Sheesh. Hilarious. Kind of looks like hype, though. Kind of looks like hype. And if anyone remembers, like, early days hype. So yeah, hopefully that covered the next Pengu thing, Richard. Let's go to hype. So yeah, I've sold all my hype now. I am officially sidelined on hype, but whatever. I bought it for 17 down here somewhere, and then I had to eat the dick on this drawdown, and then it just ran up turbo. So you know, I'm not necessarily comparing bearer to hype in terms of, you know, the likeliness of this happening, but I guess never underestimate a shit chart in crypto. You know, if teams have got cash, which I'm assuming these guys have, and I see a lot of people talk about it, which is very odd. Feels like a coordinated marketing campaign, but who knows? Maybe they just picked the load up off the lows. You know, not unreasonable to watch it run. You have heavy spot bags? How do you decide when it's time to sell? Not as heavy as you might think. Like, I'm pretty well allocated, but it's the classic thing, right? And everyone will do it unless you're a massive gambler, right? If you don't allocate, this is what we kind of said at the start of the stream. If you don't allocate, the market will go up like that. If you do allocate, the market will probably do this, or it'll go like this, right? It's going to be slow and painful. And, you know, I'm very comfortable with my allocations. Like, I'm not losing sleep at night, which, you know, there are some traders out there that say if you're not sweating over your position sometimes, you're not taking enough risk, which is probably true for me personally, because I don't want to or need to take as much risk as I used to. You know, as your portfolio grows, like down here you need 100x to kind of really change your life. Up here you need a 2x. You know, it's kind of a very different game. Very different game. And you know, I'm not saying I'm here or here, but you know, the reality is that, you know, it changes, and the amount you want to risk changes. Certainly, at least has it for me in my journey. So yeah, I'm not like hugely allocated, but I'm not under allocated, if that makes sense. And you know, when do I decide to sell? Well, it depends on the asset. It depends on, like, hype. I think we talked about it last week. You know, I sold it because it was kind of up around 2x, or 2 and a bit x. It had lost its kind of structure and trend, and you know, I just wanted to close it off and be like, nah, that's a good trade, let's just do it. Is there more to it? Or could there be more to it? Yeah, maybe, but I'll take that step back and just see what happens, right? Oh, looks like Daddy Bitcoin is chunking the market a little bit. Not looking great. Not looking great for our potential long thesis. This is basically where we want it to hold up. Because this, if I delete all that shit, is literally the local range low. As in this. Did you mean it seriously when you said your last cycle? Yeah, I think so. I think it's probably my last cycle in terms of intraday trading altcoins. it's probably never going to be my last cycle in terms of trading crypto, right? I still really enjoy trading as a hobby, you know, as an income stream, as all of that kind of stuff, right? It's fascinating trying to outperform markets, but being at the desk every single day, you know, trading 1 minute charts and rotations, it just, yeah, I probably picked or ended up rather in a style that requires a lot of time, a lot of effort, and I'm just a bit tired of it, to be honest. You know, crypto market's been very kind to me. I've got a lot of what I wanted out of it. Never enough, obviously, everyone always wants more, but I'm certainly very comfortable. So, yeah, I think the Charlie kind of retirement arc is in the pipeline. I don't know when. I don't know, you know, if I might change my mind after like a bit of a longer summer, but we'll see. What's your net worth? Nice try, HMRC. It's $100, mate. How much is enough to retire? Depends on you, depends on your expenses, depends on everything, doesn't it? Depends on whether you've got a family or not, depends on whatever. Depends on how you want to live. You know, if I was single, I could have retired fucking years ago. Well, I need a PC once a year, or once every 2 years, basically how often I fuck it off, and then a WoW subscription, and then some food. That's it. I'll be quite happy with that. Get your own 3's team in the LFG, yeah. You have edgy in Paragon about trading the 1 minute? Yeah, loads. I mean, that's pretty much what half my streams are, right? And we do it live on a lot of live streams, and try and find some you know, decent setups and stuff. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, right? You can pick a stream time, but you can't pick a fucking rotation. Otherwise, I'd only turn up to the desk when there's volatility. But anyway, enough about all that rubbish. Let's focus, because we are here. We are delivering. We are enjoying the market, you know. For now, it's still a really good market to trade. I mean, that might change, like, literally as I'm saying it, right? This might be my retirement arc. You might be witnessing the downfall of crypto right now. As we cascade brutally down to 114. You know, prices never seen before for, you know, at least, like, a week. You know, and this is the old classic, isn't it, of, like, why don't you piss around with leverage? You know, it's position size that matters. It's like we're fucking 6% down from the highs, 11% back to the range. You know, that's enough to take chunks out of a pretty decent portfolio. In alts, IRS won't make you retire. Yeah. ETH almost hit stop loss. What the ETH short that we memed? Oh fuck me, that would have been a Pico top, wouldn't it? Pico top short. Rip. So he looks like ETH on the 1 hour, Charlie. Yeah. Should I be trying to knife catch BTC? No. Like, I don't think so. Personally, I think there's a lot of... I don't like knife catching BTC in general anyway. But, like, why would you try and knife catch when you can just, like, literally draw a range low and go, okay, well, if it does that, you know, if it shows me a little bit of strength first, if it starts running up, then maybe I can get on board. But, you know, do I want to just arbitrarily bid here? Yeah, not for me. I would rather join in at the start of some strength. And that works really well on rotations, right? That works really well on spaghetti and altcoins because you can find which one's good. You can give yourself a bit of breathing room. On Bitcoin, obviously, it's a little bit different because BTC is, you know, the daddy of everything. And if Bitcoin starts selling off, everything will. Yeah, this is looking not too bad, but you know, I wouldn't want to jump in unless we were kind of above our little meme line. And you can convince me that this isn't just, you know, a last minute run of a couple of plebs and then we're going to cascade further. And typically if we start doing that, then that's yeah, that's when I'd want to participate. Does that make sense? I think this is a little bit too early. I mean, it's a good sign that we're actually, you know, getting a bit of decent volume at the lows, but yeah, not strong. Not strong at all. So yeah. ETH great strength despite Bitcoin going for lows. Yeah, I mean, this is why I said I wouldn't want to actually take the long up here, because it's just too late, right? Again, that's a fucking brutal. Look at that. That's what I mean. Like when people are saying like, is this a blow off top? I'm like, well, you know, you start looking at like this, like the volume transacted, like these are strong ass candles, yeah. This, you know, I know we're looking at Coinbase and it's spot, right? But that's what I mean. Like that is interesting. You know, really tried here, and yeah, without lifting up the hood and looking at what happened underneath. I couldn't tell you what happened, but yeah, that looks much more like a blow off top, bizarrely, than the BTC. Gee, why are you fading me? What do you mean, why am I fading you up? What, Ina? I can look at Ina, but... yeah, I mean, it looks nice from a low time frame perspective. You know, it's a 30-minute chart. I say low time frame, obviously it's a few days, but big booty pan, or big booby pan, whatever. I think it's really hard for me to get excited about this kind of stuff, though. Right at this point in time, you know, if ETH starts running, then great. You know, you can play a breakout and let it run, but assume that this was like leg 1 consolidation, leg 2, the kind of giraffe pattern that we were banging on about before. But yeah, has it got relative strength? I would like to think that Pepe is probably better than it, but that might not be true. No, I guess Ina's better than Pepe. So all I've done there is just, you know, Ina divided by Pepe, and looked at, you know, short term, it's been better. You know, ever so slightly better. You know, that's uptrending. As opposed to fuck my spaghetti up. So yeah, Ina's probably the better ETH play. NPC. Oh. Do you know what? NPC is one of the memes where I really got it. I really got the meme, but I didn't ever end up really buying any. I might have traded it once or twice, but I quite liked the meme, but I mean, it's like a lot of them, yeah. It's a nice, like, high time frame-ish pivot, like, across here. Bit messy. Bit messy. But it's good that it's pushed out. Kind of, you know, that's the kind of stuff. You know, something like this maybe. If we do get full risk on market, like, I imagine CT is crying over the fact that ETH just had that little pullback. But yeah, it looks pretty good, mate. Like, genuinely, it looks like a decent chart in terms of reclaiming high time frame pivots. This is exactly what I talked about like several streams ago, where, you know, if you're deploying your capital in charts that are consolidating, that's fine. You just have to be kind of conscious that you might bet on the wrong horse. Whereas if you're betting once something has broken out and ideally like retested or is hovering around said pivot, like, your bet there is really simple. Your bet is it's going to carry up and it's not going to break back into this like you know, range essentially, and it's broken out of consolidation and this is a trending move. And like, I love that bet there. I do not like buying in this. Like, I just don't, not anymore. I found it much better buying on the start of breakouts than I have just accumulating in ranges. Well, Bitcoin is flying. Let's go. Let's see if we can actually get a little rotation going. What's hot? What's hot? Ugh, pump fun. Pepe, Nina started beating Pepe. Oh, well done. But this is what I do when obviously when I'm not streaming and I'm actually like trading properly. I'm looking at these rotations and going, right, well, pump fun seems to be the best in terms of relative strength. To be fair, it wasn't a bad thought process. It's actually pretty relevant in terms of levels. Like similarly here, right? You've got this pivotal level kind of going through here, going through these lows, support. Bit clanky over here. Support, resistance, breakthrough. Like that was a nice rotation. Do I want to long it here? Again, not particularly, because it becomes very difficult to go, well, where am I wrong? Is this the consolidation? Like, meh. I could be tempted to take something like this. If it is genuinely really strong. Yeah, it's pretty strong, to be fair. Yeah, maybe we go with something like this. And we just preempt the break. Wonder if funding is still as fucking mental as it has been. Yeah, thanks, Darshan, brother. Yeah, if you enjoyed the stream, obviously, then give it a like, whatever. Subscribe, do all that kind of wonderful stuff. Tell your mum, your nan, etc. to be here next time. So my ETH lower, should I buy back here? I mean, I'm never going to give you financial advice, right? I can tell you what I'm doing. I can tell you, like, I can give you trade ideas. I can do stuff. And show you my thought processes and all that kind of stuff. But, should you buy it back here? It's something that you've really got to learn to decide for yourself. Like, I can talk you through why I'm buying stuff, why I'm selling stuff, why I'm doing what I'm doing. But I can't make those kind of decisions for you, brother. And I think that's one of the things that you've kind of got to do as well. Is like, learn to trust your own judgment, right? Because ultimately you're the one that lives with the consequences, right? If I say go in 100x long here and you blow up your entire fucking net worth, right? I'm not the one who has to tell the wife, am I? Yeah, you are. Equally, if you make fucking $10 million out of it, you're probably not going to give me any of that, are you? So, it's one of those. And like, I think it took me a while to realize that, really. It was that, like, I'd take a trade, like this is 2017, 2018, I'd take a trade off someone's idea on Twitter. I'd just copy the chart. I'd be like, okay, well, I'll do this, why am I doing this? Without any understanding of the why, really, or why my trade thesis is that, right? It's because it's, a lot of relative strength, yada, 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 like genuinely, like ridiculously strong compared to the other coins. It's the best kind of entry that I'm probably going to get if it does do what I think it's going to do, which is run for a little bit because it's, a big hated rally. Might not work. Might have to do this and just really tighten the stop up and go, okay, right, it's even tighter now. Like, we're assuming that we're breaking out of essentially this value range, and if it doesn't, then that's because it's come back in. It's probably going to go back to the lows as we discussed. The probability of it going from here to here, given that it was consolidating in this range, is much higher. But equally, if it runs, then this could be a good little rotational trade and a nice little one minute chart trade. Yeah. But if it does something like this, takes the high here, now what? Do I keep that? It's lost the trend, yada yada yada. Well, I'm gonna close that personally because I'm kind of done with it. But understanding the logic, the reasons, and developing your own kind of intuition and also your own systems around trading That's what's gonna get you far, because you can't kind of come and ask other people all the time, well, should I buy, should I sell, whatever. Like I've explained to you guys why I'm not like loading up on ETH at this point. It's kind of because I missed the trade, right? There's gonna be other trades, and ETH can go to fucking $10,000 right now in one candle. I'm not gonna like cry about it. Do you know what I mean? It'd be great. It'd be great for the rest of the market. Yeah, if ETH keeps going, like, let's get some fucking Pepe then. Let's rock some Pepe coin. Like, Pepe's about to break out, yeah? So we've got a chance to kind of jump into Pepe. Like, why are we crying about ETH when we can long Pepe? I mean, I just think there are better opportunities. Pengu down here, Pepe up here, right? So hopefully that makes sense. I'm not having to go at you. It's good that you're asking questions and doing all that kind of stuff. It's just I'm trying to give you my perspective so that it helps you. So in the mid 2000s, yeah, but if you bought it lower, then who cares? And if you missed out on that trade, is fine. Just the mastery of kind of patience takes time. So in and of itself, it is a game of patience. I'd give you at least 10% off if I made 1 million off your trade. Cheers, mate. That's very kind. I did actually have that with somebody. I think he offered, was it $200,000 or $400,000? He offered to give me, because he was like, man, I wouldn't have found Rune if it wasn't for you, blah blah blah. And I was like, yeah, but mate, I didn't make you buy it. And like, I'm not giving refunds to all the cunts that I told, like, or I didn't tell. I said I'm buying this, and they decided to buy it too, and it didn't work out. Like, it's it's not how it works. Launchcoin with 0.146 reclaim. Yeah, Launchcoin's been on my list actually. I've really under-traded Launchcoin because we set this plan up, and it obviously worked out very, very well. But I didn't take it, so a bit awkward really. But again, you start looking at this kind of stuff, right? And like, everyone gets fearful at this point, and that's absolutely fine, right? Have your own views on the market. And a lot of this is probably the whole pump fund meta being like baked in, and that is fucking Pico top, isn't it? Jesus Christ, I should that must have been last stream. That must have been last stream we did that one. Look at that for a fucking banger for you. Jesus Christ. But yeah, on this, everyone kind of goes, oh well, it's pulled back massively, and it's like, okay, well, is there another trade here? Personally, I think a lot of this hype was probably on the pump, or based off the pump fund launch, and the fact that everyone thought that it would come back into the meta as a result of pump fund going live, etc. But yeah, I guess not so far. But again, all we need is plans. We need plans to go, well, okay, well, when am I interested? I can be interested here. Again, break of downtrend, reclaim of little low time frame range. Jump, give me a signal, or give me a setup to get into, and I'll go for it. But yeah, in general, I'm going to guess that the Launchcoin relative strength is pretty much gone. Well, maybe not. Maybe not. What a nice little rotation. Yeah. So like pump fun, Launchcoin, and interestingly banana. So actually, the narrative here is the on-chain, isn't it? It's coin launchpads and on-chain trading. Which, hello. Obligatory telemetry shell if you're going to be trading on chain. But yeah, this is what I'm looking for, right? Breaks of downtrends, new fresh moves, on things with relative strength. Like, that is... I'm just going to put that there. So, go sign up to this. FYI, if you're trading on chain. Have you looked in startup? Way better than altcoin? No, I haven't actually. What's startup? Is this going to be like a, is this going to be dodgy? Startup, yeah? Let's have a look. This. Oh, that was pretty... I mean, questionable. Volume to market cap ratio, but okay. Is there any reason you're particularly bullish on it? Man, the music is banning. Thank you, Lucifer Incestus. Always good when the devil compliments your music choices. What's nobody doing? We actually charted nobody on stream a long time ago down here. Can you remember that? Fucking went ape shit. Went absolutely ape shit. Fucking 7x. Jesus Christ. Fucking ran again, didn't it? That is... Not fair, I completely missed that. Holy shit. You gotta assume that all the pre-salers are kind of out on this. Right, that's my kind of leading assumption. But, we'll see. We'll see. Similar cult was useless and Parkpoint for startup? Oh really? The product is the market cap? Paul, do you mean this is another one of them SC coins? Yeah. SC's got nobody. Privex. Oh, I saw that. I saw Income Shows talking about that. Yeah, he's done pretty well off that. He was shilling it like way back down here. Or maybe it's like down here or something. He's like deep in his utility plays. I don't know how much he fucking buys, but I imagine he does pretty well out of them. He just seems to buy them, forget about them, and then the tweet turns up later. You know, a lot later. Good law startup? Oh, I'll have a look into it then. But everyone is celebrating a new bull market on CT. Are they secretly selling? Probably, man. Like, you'll never know. Like, even with the likes of James Wynn, right? You don't know that that's his net position. So, let me just sort of give you a very simple example. I am on Hyperliquid. I short Bitcoin for $10 million. I am also on Bybit, which you cannot see. And I am long Bitcoin. $10 million. My net position is basically zero, less fees, funding, and whatever difference there is between the two, you know, perps and my entries and yada yada yada. But that's like 1% maximum, right? Let's say. You know, I get liquidated on my Hyperliquid trade. Everyone fucking pisses themselves at me. Lamau. I've actually lost fucking nothing, really. Maybe, like I said, 1%. Who gives a fuck? You don't actually know 99.99% of people's net positioning, right? The only cunts you do know are the ones that have been liquidated. And the ones who've been liquidated have got fuck all. And you don't care about their positioning because they can't touch you. They're dead in the water. So, yeah. That's kind of my take on trying to theorize other people's positioning and all that kind of stuff. Now, obviously, from an order flow analysis perspective, you can look at individual aggregated exchange positions. You can look at who's being aggressive. You know, are people piling in on perps, or is it on spot? What's the kind of takeaway from that? I personally don't trade like that, but both Magus and Doc do a very good job of using that in their analysis. So yeah, that's kind of my take on like sentiment analysis. Now I do use a bit of sentiment in terms of like evaluating the context of the market that I'm trading. For example, the exact breakout we talked about last week, which was the 110k breakout. If it breaks out 110k, everyone's going to get euphoric. No one's going to want to sell. Rotations are going to be good. You know, why is my target 40% and not 5%? it's because I think that there's, it's going to break out to the upside. I think that it's going to be a good rotation, etc., etc. Like, that all adds up into, I think, sentiment, and I think the fact that it's been boring for a while just means that it will be a good rotation. And will it be the start of a new uptrend and go on to infinity? Don't know. Hopefully we see 1 million Bitcoin this year, but that's a ridiculous forecast. That is like the end game of Bitcoin. I think the number one asset in the world, which it very much means you're not early to it, and it's currently like the fifth biggest asset in the world, isn't it? But How did you trade at 1k to 10k to begin with? What's your portfolio development story? Did you bankrupt it and go to zero? No, I mean, I didn't start with 1k, I started with more than that. And, I started in 2017. I didn't like blow up or do anything like that because I'm genuinely too much of a pussy. I like when what I do back in 2017, it was like I took my money, I went like 33x. I then took 10x out, so I kind of reset here. I then ran that up a little bit more. I then took like a minus 75% ish, maybe it's 70 or something like that. I hit on all that. I thought that it was going to be like incredible, blah blah blah. It wasn't, and then I just cashed out everything at that point. And then once I'd done that, I put it back in to the market, but with a plan. So I was like, right, I'll put X amount in Bitcoin, I'll put X amount in like Rune, Tomo, stuff like that, like loads of, like investments. And then from there, I just like held some of it, traded some of it, like spot invested some of it on like 4-hour swing charts, and stuff like that. And, I've seen 3 cycles now, so, your capital just compounds over time if you don't blow it up. I've only ever been liquidated once, and that was when I was playing around on Delta exchange. I've been generally very lucky because I manage my counterparty risk quite well. So I don't keep millions on Bybit, for example. If you want to trade with $100,000 on Bybit, then I will deposit maybe $12,000 and use 10x leverage. The extra bit to kind of cover the maintenance margin and stuff like that, and just have a bit extra. So when you see like my big P&L cards in terms of percentages, it's not the percent that matters, it's position size. But if Bybit go under, which I don't think they will because they have their proof of reserves and all that kind of stuff, then my money is fine. So here I am taking 48 hours to decide whether I should put 100 quid into ETH. Yeah, I mean, everyone's at different stages, right? A few years ago, I was, when I first started like intraday trading, and I was, playing like low time frame Bitcoin and ETH rotations. To me, like a $500 day was like an amazing day, right? It was like, well, yeah, let's fucking go. Like, that was great. It was like, oh my god, I just like printed money out of thin air. The feeling was nuts. It was like, and I'm actually doing this, my P&L curve started doing this, like, and I was like, oh my god, this is, occasionally you chunk it down a little bit, but like over time it was going up, and I was like, holy fuck, this feels like chi, not life. And then obviously as as your portfolio size goes up, those numbers get a little bit scarier. And that's one thing that I've done terribly, which is as my net worth has gone up, my risk has kind of done this, as opposed to most people's, which kind of just, just matches. But, to each their own. That's exactly what Win did. What, mate? The, yeah, it doesn't look particularly great here, does it? Yes. I mean, I'm not going to trade this, right? This is to me, like, just a bit of a mess. Alright, this is pinging every time. Just turn that off. What's the little gem you got for us? I don't really have one. I'm not sat here looking at any of these charts going, fuck me, I can't wait to like long this or trade this or whatever. Like, you know, there's nothing that's like majorly exciting. Like, hopefully pump obviously just rips from where we looked at a minute ago. What else? I really want a long fart coin, but equally I know that it might be like too early now, which is why I've kind of drawn the trade setup as I've drawn it. So, you know, I don't want to be trying to trade this market super aggressively when Bitcoin is not in free fall, because that's really unfair, right? But Bitcoin is not looking particularly strong. And if we start getting a bit of relative strength, like let's just, you know, move this down a little bit better so it's a little bit closer, right? And it makes more sense to like local price action, because that's ultimately what we're going to trade off, yeah. You know, if we can start getting something like this in terms of breaking the downtrend, in terms of slowing, oh, Jesus. In terms of slowing that momentum down, you know, a bit of consolidation and then a bit of a, you know, a run, you know, that to me is great. That's the next leg of the market. Happy days. If it just does this and just starts cascading down, well, we haven't taken a trade. We're not offside. You know, we haven't round tripped anything or done anything like that. Like, it's just is what it is. Yeah. Like I said, I'm betting on continuation. I'm betting on more upside. I'm just going to take trades where there are setups, and there's not huge amounts of them right at this moment in time. That's the downside of picking one day to stream on, right? You pick one day and it's like, well, market's just pulled back, but not into particularly great places in general. There's a few decent charts out there, right? A few decent charts. Hype's probably one that I'm definitely regretting kind of selling, and not regretting, just kind of regretting not trying to jump back in on this one, you know, in this like consolidation here or whatever. But yeah, there's not too much else that's super exciting. Someone asked about like Doge and like SHIB and stuff like that. Like for me, you know, Doge and SHIB, God, if they can flip, like if SHIB can flip this kind of level, then maybe it gets a nice rotation or two. But it's pretty evident, like from low time frame rotations that I've seen, that it's just nowhere near as strong as other coins. You know, we talked about Doge like last week and said, here's another one. You know, in terms of running it up, and doing something like this. But you know, you start looking at these targets, you start looking at, you know, do I want to buy it here? Not really. You know, other better options. I mean, we've literally like been through better options. Like hopefully Pump Fund, yeah, Pump Fund's going. You know, Bonk, Myro, like they're just better. Where is Doge? Where is SHIB? It's like somewhere in here, yeah, somewhere in here. Yeah, BNB is quite good. I think I saw SC talk about BNB actually, because they're going to launch a Pump Fund competitor and all this stuff, aren't they? What have we got? Yeah, it was a fucking painful trade, wasn't it? I was in that for fucking weeks. I think the problem with BNB is, like, we're kind of in the stupid cycle. As in, you know, the more ridiculous the meme. I mean, look at Useless, right? Which we'll look at that chart in a minute, because it's fucking wild. I really wish I chilled the fuck out of it, even though it went down 75% from my entry, and then it went fucking 20x or something stupid. But case around. Yeah, I mean, BNB looks fucking great, like on a high time frame basis, right? If you can be patient with it, looks fucking amazing. Looks like it just wants to fucking gigasend to $1,000. But yeah, wild. Bitcoin's running now. Thank fuck. Thank fuck. So I bought another one on Revolut actually, and the fuckers charged me £2,000 to buy one Bitcoin. Fucking work that out. That's like on one of my business accounts. That's fucking retarded. Fucking retarded. Let's have a peep. Where is it? Useless. Look at this. What a fucking ridiculous chart. Oh, sorry, boys. I'm tired. It would seem. Yeah, I bought here. On chain. And like it was literally, I think this candle was like 25 mil market cap. Fucking ate the dick of like a 75-80% drawdown. And just thought, ah, fuck it, I'm writing this piece of shit off then. And then obviously a few weeks later, like UniPCS just decides this is his fucking baby. And, you know, suddenly it's absolutely up and to the right, goated season. But whatever. If any of you wrote this as well, it hasn't really given many opportunities to jump in, but it's absolutely insane. Absolutely insane strength. UniPCS is a fucking legend of the cycle, like genuine legend. Yeah, my music's gone. Can you explain the Bitcoin scalp again? I mean, this was just like, yeah, it's a bit got come and gone. Yeah, what I was saying is that like this sell-off, like I wouldn't long here or here. This is where I want to long, essentially a move up and a reclaim of this level, and that's you know what's happening. And now you're in this situation where you know I'm looking at essentially this rotation and this structure, and you know if I want to like stay in this, I just want to see like this rotation be good, yeah. And you can like keep following this up in terms of like if let's say it goes let's say it goes here and then starts stalling a little bit, you know, just move stop here and just kind of follow it up in terms of don't give your money back. And what a lot of people do is like, oh yeah, got the fucking generational bottom, and then this turns out to just be like on the 5 minute, it turns out to just be like a rejection of this little consolidation into the low. We go again and we do it again, yeah. Like you literally are trading a little low time frame range band environment. And that's the idea of like the scalp play, if that makes sense. Like you're just playing for a rotation, you're not playing for like the giga long, long into all-time highs type trade. But yeah, if this works out, then it's the 1% meme .jpg. 1% in the bull market, lovely. But yeah, I think that's probably it for me, guys. I think I will be a little bit more active in terms of looking for trade setups and all that kind of stuff. It's just a little bit, you know, it's not as easy. We got Pump Fun kind of moving now. So like, again, this is an example of a rotation, right? We'll do a, we'll hopefully like get something out of that. Like people are always like, oh, I got such ridiculous R on your trades. One of the legends actually said, you know, I always see you post ridiculous R trades and then they work out. And I'm like, yeah. Yeah. The ones I post always work out because the ones that don't, I rarely post. But no, in seriousness, like, you know, it's just part of a rotation. And the reality is that this could very easily just come crashing back down. And, you know, now it's kind of right, okay, you know, stop break even. And a lot of people don't like that. They're like, well, you shouldn't put your stop at break even ever. I think that's dumb as fuck. I think you absolutely should, because now we're in a starting of a trend move, right? Or start the start of a trending move. Like this should be a rotation. If this isn't the rotation that I want it to be and that I think it is, then it's gonna like break this trend line, break this meme, break this, you know, structure in terms of it's going to form a higher low, lower high here. You do something like this, then yeah, that's why I'm out of that trade. I'm out of that rotation. Yeah. So simple as that. Simple trade idea, simple thesis that we all saw, we all ran through. We all hopefully understood the relative strength element of it in terms of why I took this particular long on spaghetti. You know, the fact that it is now kind of continuing, and you know, well done for the launch coin shill as well, because like yeah, that's starting to run. Yeah, I think that's kind of it. But if this comes back and round trips, like, you know, that's it for me. Like stops on, job done. Play the rotation game, and yeah, that's it. Pump fun. No, thank you guys for the time. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you guys for asking all the questions. You've asked some really great questions, like usual. Genuinely, really, really good. And it's really nice to have the questions because it just helps me massively, right? In terms of content, in terms of engagement. Hopefully, it helps you in terms of you're picking stuff up. Like, you're picking up my thought processes, you're getting some valuable feedback from people who have traded these markets for years. And yeah, thank you all for your time. Thank you all for your patience. If you wouldn't mind liking the video, and if you want to see me next week, subscribe, and I will see you then. Au revoir. And of course, sign up to my Telegram. Or Telegram? What am I on about? Telemetry. You can go on my Telegram too, but I don't post too much in there these days. With the link that I have put in the YouTube. I will leave you and love you on that bombshell. So, au revoir.